If it's Monday night, it's ridiculously raw. Welcome, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Of course, if you guys have not noticed, I am not Anthony Florio. This is the Cerebral Viper himself, Michael Flecha. I'm taking over for tonight and tonight only. Welcome to Ridiculously Raw. I'm Braves Fan 95 for the first time ever. Alongside the ridiculously over gentleman, Anthony Florio, and the phenom, Michael Bullock. Dee Woodson, our Twisted Angel, will not be here tonight, unfortunately. Basically, a very busy day in her life. She just was unable to do it this evening. Hopefully, she'll be on Cerebral Smack Talk tomorrow night, and Anthony will get into that a little bit later on this evening. Now, as you guys may know, this week and for this week only, it's role reversal week. I will be takeovering Ridiculously Raw for the evening, and Anthony will be taking over Cerebral Smack Talk tomorrow night on his channel, The Tone 25. And don't worry, folks, you're also going to get the Mikey's Mindset here tonight. Tony's Take will be tomorrow night. So all you people who wanted it to find out what happened on 205 Live and on TNA Impact, don't worry, you'll get that tomorrow. Tonight, you're going to get RWA news. We do have something like that. We do have some Ring of Honor news. We have Lucha Underground news. That's all a part of the big package on the Mikey's Mindset. That will be later tonight. But, gentlemen, right in to tonight, WWE Monday Night Raw. This was the I think you call it the pen emptium or whatever, the show before the final show, the show before the go home show for SummerSlam, and this time it was from Wacky Bizarro. Welcome to the Great White North of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, as this was from the Air Canada Center live on the USA Network as always. And we started it off, well, this TV segment. So The Miz comes out with Maryse and The Miz Taraj, and they were actually demanding a fight with Jason Jordan. The Miz was a little bit angry about what happened last week, you know, how Jason Jordan kind of got the upper hand, and The Miz was like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of people beating me up on my own show. This is Miz TV. That means I get free reign. This is my billing. I want Jason Jordan. Kurt Angle shows up, and Kurt comes out, and he's like, you know what? I hate to do this, but you're not going to get Jason Jordan. Jason Jordan has a match later tonight, Monday Night Raw, and he's going to be fighting Curtis Axel. So I can't give you that match. However, there is somebody who wants to be on Miz TV, and I actually booked you a guest for tonight's show, and I'm telling you, Miz, when you see who it is, you're not gonna believe it. It's probably gonna be your highest rating ever. Who does he bring out? None other than the reigning, undisputed WWE Universal Champion, Brock Lesnar, along with his advocate. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. Oh my freaking God. How awesome did this start out? Now, The Miz comes out even before Heyman could even say anything. The Miz cut him off at the pass and says, when my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut, Paul Heyman, and I don't care if you're the advocate, because I am not going to allow you to say whatever you want to say. Let me get a few things off my chest. And he goes on this rant about, you know what? If Brock Lesnar leaves, he goes out the door, he leaves WWE, and I don't care because, quite frankly, he's not worthy of being in WWE anyway, being this part-time guy. Well, I'm not going to shed any tears if he leaves. And as a matter of fact, if I was a Las Vegas odds maker or a bookie, I would be putting money right now on your three other opponents in the Fatal 4-Way, which is Roman Reigns, boo, Braun Strowman, and no, guys, it's not Roar, it's Braun! Now and forever, guys, that's what you do. There's no roaring, it's brawning. And then Samoa Joe, the Samoan submission machine. So Paul Heyman is like, you know what? Here's something. Do you and your wife like to do role play? He's like, let's role play this out. You can be Roman Reigns. Curtis Axel. You know what? I'll call you Braun Strowman. And Bo Dallas, you could be Samoa Joe. And this guy, well, you know what? Let's do this. Let's see what happens with all four of us in this very ring. Oh boy, you know what happened next. Let's just say our boy, let's say he had a field day, to say the very least. The Miz and the Miztourage, welcome to Suplex City, Brock Lesnar style. I hope you enjoyed your stay, fellas, because it was one bumpy ride. What a way to start Monday Night Raw. To have the Universal Champion in the house and basically do damage, destruction, as we say. This was a thing of beauty. This was awesome. I loved it. Anthony Florio, come on in, my friend. The original host of the show. Thank you for letting me take the reins for one night only. But, my man, segment of the night?
Before I get into that, MF, I do have one quick question for you, and that is, how did you like being on the stage compared to ringside, my friend?
Actually, it's been a while since I've done the stage. It's not bad. You remember we used to do the stage back in the day. This was actually pretty unique.
Absolutely, and I'll let you know how ringside feels tomorrow for SmackDown Live, but which I think is pretty cool. Looking forward to that. But anywho, yes, indeed. Hello, friends. Yes, it is the actual host of this show, Anthony Florio, and yes, role reversal week. What happened here is the real story is tomorrow night, MF has a very important work commitment, and I do mean very important, that he will not be able to host the Cerebral Smack Talk tomorrow night. So I offered to fill in like I always do, being the man of honor and integrity that I am, and that's what I do. So that's why we're doing this role reversal this week, and I think that works out perfectly because it's the penultimate. That's the word you were looking for, MF. Penultimate week for SummerSlam, and next week is Go Home, and I think that's when we should go back to our usual posts. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it, MF. I'm glad you're not saying, oh, SmackDown Live does this better than that, but yeah, don't do that. So anywho, as far as this goes, segment of the night, MF. Yeah, I say segment of the night. Why not? You're absolutely right. I'll go further. It was a fun opening segment. It's fairly rare to see Lesnar get physical on Raw, and the live crowd was certainly hot for it. I kind of found it odd that Angle's character booked Lesnar and Heyman for Miz TV, given that Heyman blamed Angle and the WWE power structure for putting Brock Lesnar in that SummerSlam 4-Way last week. So, but no, anytime, anytime you get the Beast Incarnate, Universal Champion, and his advocate, on a Monday Night Raw, that's always going to put a smile on people's faces. And you saw the fans in Toronto, and I'll tell you what, this Toronto crowd was jacked tonight. You thought they were jacked tonight. Imagine how jacked they're going to be tomorrow night on SmackDown Live, especially when they see a certain King of Strong Style, if you know what I mean. So, oh boy, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about that. So, but nonetheless, MF has it absolutely right. This was the segment of the night, no doubt about it. So, so with that being said, my partner in crime in the Raw chat, the Phenom, Michael Bullock. We had another fun Raw chat tonight, although we weren't together for this moment because I was just coming home from my work. So, but how did you like this opening segment of the night?
Oh, I agree. This is definitely the segment of the night, without a doubt. I mean, yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, I mean, Miz was so angry about what happened last week. He was basically deciding, you know what, I'm going to call out Jason Jordan. I'm going to give him a taste of his own medicine. But Kurt Angle's like, you're not getting him? Well, I got somebody for you. Brock Lesnar, the Universal Champion, and then as Paul Heyman tried to do his usual shtick, I mean, The Miz basically interrupted him, basically went on a rant, and as Jerry the King Lawler always used to say, Miz, always keep your words soft and sweet because you might have to eat them. Well, obviously he did have to eat those words because afterwards, when it was Heyman's turn to talk with that whole role play thing, let's just say the Miz and the Mistourage, they got a one-way ticket to Suplex City, bitch. And it wasn't just Suplex City; it was also F5 City because all three of them got an F5. Basically, it was Brock Lesnar's way of sending a message to both the Miz and to the three opponents for SummerSlam: Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, and Samoa Joe. So the crowd enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed it. Segment of the night, and certainly a pretty good tone setter for tonight's Monday Night Raw. So there's really nothing more for me to say. So Fletch, let's just move on to the first fight of this night.
All right. I'm just gonna really just say something really quick, but like just be careful with the words, man. This is normally PG show. This is normally Florio's show, so I rather keep the PG rating just for tonight. Normally it's on my channel, and normally I would say I will allow that. Unfortunately, because this is kind of Florio's baby, and I'm trying to take care of it. So I just careful on the cuss words tonight. All right, this is
Yeah,
a
I thought.
TV-14,
Well,
unfortunately.
I just thought because we were on your channel, I thought I could get away with it, but
And unfortunately, not tonight. Not tonight, my friend. Yeah, this is because this is ridiculously raw. The PG rating is still in effect, regardless of it being
uh-oh.
on Brace Fan 95 or anything else.
For me, in the immortal words of Morocco Mole, whoopsie.
Yeah, and in the immortal words of Ren and Stimpy, Bullock, you idiot!
Hey Bullock. Do you know what happens when you do that kind of thing on my show?
Go
Uh-oh.
ahead.
Do you know what happens?
What
Michael
happens? Go ahead. Just say it. Just say it.
You just made the list.
I kind of figured that was coming.
I can't believe it. The first night of Ridiculously Raw on Braves Fan 95, and Michael Bullock just found himself on the list. Ouch. All right. So now that we got that out of the way, let's get into the first fight of the night. Anthony Florio, get ready. It's on you. Seth Rollins goes one-on-one with one half of the Raw Tag Team Champions, Sheamus, and the winner of the bout, unofficially at 8 minutes and 35 seconds, it was the Celtic Warrior Sheamus getting the roll up on Rollins and getting the win. 1, 2, 3. Where's my friend?
Well, I'll tell you, MF. I could only give this about 2.5 stars for me. solid match. I hate roll-ups. I mean, roll-ups out of nowhere, they're not fun. RKOs out of nowhere, those are fun. Roll-ups out of nowhere, no. Anywho, Dean Ambrose not coming out to help Seth Rollins is more compelling to me than him running out and making the save and agreeing to team with Rollins at SummerSlam. It seems like it's only a matter of time before that match is booked, where we will see Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose going up against Sheamus and Cesaro for the Raw Tag Team Championship. But I'm really enjoying the way they're dragging this out rather than having Ambrose simply forgive and forget. He hasn't forgotten. He hasn't forgotten 3 years ago when Seth Rollins sold his soul to the Authority. We all know that. So why do we expect him to kiss and make up here? Not yet. So that's all I can really get into here. For me, 2.5 stars is well, I'll say it like this: it's between 2.5, teetering on 3, but I think it's more 2.5, honestly. So but it was a solid match, though. I enjoyed it for the most part, and I would probably say maybe third or fourth best fight of the night for me, if I'm going to be real honest, because there were 2 matches in particular that were really good. So that's all I can say here. So 2.5 to 3, more so 2.5. So Michael Bullock, we went back and forth with the rating during our Raw chat tonight. Have you decided on a final rating?
Yeah, I think the final rating is what you just gave it, 2.5 stars. I mean, good match for what it was with these two. But it's like you just said. I mean, the ending, it's just basically literally rubbed me the wrong way. I mean, with the roll up. I mean, if it had a clean finish, I would have basically given it maybe 2 3/4, maybe 3 stars. But all in all, it's a 2.5 star rating, and kept wondering if Dean Ambrose was going to show up to save Seth Rollins. He never did, and you saw in that backstage segment and where Dean Ambrose still hasn't forgiven Seth Rollins for what he did a few years back when he broke up the Shield. So, but somehow I still get this feeling that at SummerSlam it's going to be Ambrose and Rollins against Cesaro and Sheamus for the tag team titles. I think it's going to be announced maybe next week on the final Raw for SummerSlam. So nothing else to say. Fletch, I give it to you.
I agree for the most part. I thought this was a solid fight. I could give this about maybe 2.25 stars though. I really think it could have been a lot more better. I think the way that it went down could have been a lot more better, but for whatever it's worth, it was a solid fight. It was a good match. I think that was just there was really nothing more that made us jump out of our seats, but it is what it is. It was a good match. So let's just move on. All right, guys. On Ridiculously Raw, we get cutouts on the show. Very few and far in between. Unfortunately, a cutout rears its ugly head, and it does here. So, what we had here was Jason Jordan going one-on-one with Juan Pierre Godot. And basically, this is a local guy, a jobber is what they call him. He basically is out from Quebec City, so obviously the Canadians were gonna jump all over this and root for the guy. So they did, and unfortunately, Jason Jordan wins the bout in 1 minute and 20 seconds. Okay. I think this was a mistake by WWE. I think they just lost a lot of momentum here tonight because of the fact that if he's a face, a good guy, why have him fight a Canadian in literally his own backyard in from Quebec City, and to have him go one-on-one against Jason Jordan? Obviously, the crowd's gonna side with the Canadian. Obviously. This was horrible booking by WWE, and for once, I gotta call it. And normally, this is one of the pet peeves I have with Monday Night Raw writing, and this is a constructive criticism I need to give them. Something like this, and the thing is, you could have given them somebody else. I mean, you could have given Jason Jordan somebody else, because remember, this was originally supposed to have been Curtis Axel, but they played the angle that because Lesnar messed up Curtis Axel too badly enough that he was unable to fight, so Kurt Angle was basically in scramble mode and literally pulled a James Ellsworth moment and said, you know what? You go out there, you fight, you represent you fight Jason Jordan tonight. Golden opportunity. This guy's gonna become an overnight sensation. I'm guaranteeing you right now. I'll bet you anything. Social media is looking for this Juan Pierre and wondering who the heck he is as an independent wrestler. Watch, this is James Ellsworth all over again. I can guarantee it. This is gonna be the James Ellsworth thing. I was gonna say something else, but then I gotta hold up. I have to hold up because I have to think about this is obviously ridiculously raw, so I got to be on my best behavior. All right. So next up we had was girl Charlie Caruso at ringside as she conducts an interview with Bayley. All right, guys, if you've been living under a rock, last week Derek Ferreira, our very own Derek Ferreira, talked about a report that Bayley suffered an injury and her status was up in the air. We did not know what was going to happen with Bayley as it pertained to SummerSlam. Well, today, WWE told us the story. First reported by YouTube sensation Joe Cronin, and I'm giving him all the credit for this. He reported it and was the first to report that Bayley is out of SummerSlam, meaning there is no longer a match between her and Anthony's future ex-wife, Alexa Bliss, for the Raw Women's title at SummerSlam, the hottest night of the summer at the Barclays, which meant this was an unfortunate moment for us all. You know, I know it's unfortunate for Michael Bullock because that means the wacky, wavy, inflatable Bayley buddies will not be at the Barclays this year. They're not going to be there, guys. Sorry. If you guys were looking for those idiotic sock puppet inflatable garbage things, you're not getting them. And for Anthony Florio and for myself, we just missed out on what could have been a pretty good fight, honestly. So what happens? It sells a triple threat fight. Well, 2 triple threat matches, and the winners of those 2 triple threats will face each other one-on-one 1 week from tonight at the TD Garden in Boston on Monday Night Raw, and the winner of that match moves on and will fight Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam. So, this is a 2-for-1 segment. First off, we had was the Bayley interview, which, was thing, and, we'll see. And then the first triple threat fight we had, Sasha Banks versus Alicia Fox versus Emma. Yes, Emma is back, and I'm so happy about that. But when it was all said and done, it was Sasha Banks, the boss, who wins the bout. 4 minutes, 45 seconds. She moves on to fight in Boston 1 week from tonight for the right to possibly fight Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's title. Michael Bullock, step on in, my friend. Give me your thoughts about the Bayley injury, and then give me your thoughts about this 3-way dance, as I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel bad for Bayley. I mean, she fought her way to get herself back into the title picture, and then basically, well, unfortunately this happened, and I mean, I'm sure she was so looking forward to competing at SummerSlam, at her very first SummerSlam. Her first SummerSlam is going to have to wait a year because of this injury. So, yeah, I mean, you could just tell. I mean, when they showed that video of how she got hurt, she didn't even look at it. So, Bailey, nothing but the best, and hopefully, hopefully she comes back sometime soon. Yeah, so basically now we're gonna find out a new number one contender of the Raw Women's title. So, and as far as yeah, what was the time of the fall, Fletch? If you have it,
Unofficially, 4 minutes and 45 seconds.
um, okay, I'll only give it 1 star for the effort. I mean, it was just too short for my liking. I mean, I wanted to see more out of this, but no surprise here that Sasha Banks wins this. So yeah, I just really wanted to see more out of this, but it is what it is. So the segment I thought was good, but the match, star, Fletch, it's yours.
All right, this is actually very interesting to talk about because I'm going to say it wasn't the best match. Absolutely not by a long shot. And even to the point, and I'll even admit this, it was tough to watch at points. There was a lot of botches in this fight. I mean, it was pretty bad. The crowd was definitely behind Emma, which was a little bit of a shocker, to say the very least. I don't know about you guys, but I think the referee botched in one moment. I thought his hand came down for 3, and then at the last minute, Alicia Fox kind of that looked like a 3 count to me, and even I was like, whoa, that's a 3. That was a 3. What the heck was that? So I was even a little bit of an angry individual. Don't get me wrong, I love the boss. I'm a big fan of Sasha Banks, but I thought they almost made a horrific mistake on this, and yeah, backstage would have been flipping out. I mean, that referee probably would have been put on the list 20 times over, especially by Kevin Dunn and Vince McMahon. Oh my God, it would have flipped. So, I mean, it was okay for what it was worth. I'm not gonna be rooting or tooting the horn about how great this match was. I think it was okay. 1 star is about right. As a matter of fact, I could probably go even lower than that if I could, but I won't. I'm going to be as generous as I can be and let Anthony Florio take over.
Yeah. First off, as far as the Bailey segment goes, shout out to my girl Charlie Caruso. Oh, in that beautiful raw red dress. Wow, unbelievable. She's a stunner. Bailey. Very rare we get to see Bailey with the hair down, and instead of in that traditional little hairdo of hers. But Bullock and I noticed this, and Bullock, I'm surprised you didn't mention this when we had it on you. That live crowd was tough on Bailey. They were brutal to her. They were being disrespectful to her, man. I mean, did you hear?
Yeah, and that's where I got a problem with that.
Yeah, big problem, Bullock. I mean, you told me during our Raw chat, you said they were being disrespectful, and I agree.
Absolutely. I mean, they were just being so disrespectful to her, and I mean, I get it. I know. I mean, there are times she's been good, but I just don't understand why the crowd is all over her.
I think why they're all over her is because I think WWE is trying to groom her as like the female John Cena. And I think, and I hate to say this, but I think that's where the pushback is coming, is because she is too quick, too fast, and it kind of feels like WWE is trying to shove her down our throats. And she's not shoving it down my throat, not down your throat, Bullock. And I know, Florio, you don't mind her. And I know if Dee Dee Woodson was here, she would be agreeing with all four of us, with all three of us, I should say, and saying that she's not overbearing. But there are people that actually does not like her because of that fact. And right or wrong, fair or not fair, it seems like that's been kind of the MO lately. And besides, we are in a bizarre world. We were in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Now, if this was Boston, Massachusetts, I think the crowd would have been a little more forgiving for Bayley. I think because this was kind of outside of the US, and that's kind of when you have a more international crowd, you kind of get yourself into these kind of situations.
Yeah, kind of like with SummerSlam 2004 when they had that Diva Dodgeball, they were booing the women.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they were booing Edge. Edge was the hometown boy that night, defending the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship against Jericho and Batista. And Edge got booed out of the building.
Well, I guess it's sometimes it's tough to please those people from Toronto.
And the
I was gonna say, they kind of and now you have to watch this program in order to understand it. You want toughest crowds? Why don't you do that old well, it still is actually on to this very day. Showtime at the Apollo Theater in Harlem, New York.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a brutal crowd. They are rough.
Yes, I know. Amen to that. And
hey, you want to talk about tough crowds? What about the Philadelphia? Like one time, and I'm sure we've heard the story a lot, that they actually booed Santa Claus.
Yep, Philly fans booed Santa Claus. Yes, we all know.
And what they did with when Michael Irvin got hurt was totally disrespectful.
Yeah, they cheered.
Well, we can always get into that on another day. We could talk about that on Strictly Sports, but when it comes to wrestling, yeah, New York.
I'm just using it for an example.
No, and granted, and duly noted. But when we're talking about, like we said, a lot of times you get rough crowds. Chicago. I think we all know how Chicago can get.
IWC capital of the world.
IWC capital of the world. Philly, New York. Boston has its moments, but they don't really go wild. Providence. You want to talk about Bizarro? Providence kind of went a little nutty the last time I was at Monday Night Raw. They were cheering Seth Rollins. They were booing Dean Ambrose out of the building. Like, that was shocking.
And yet Dean Ambrose cut a promo after the show, you said, and actually thanked the crowd.
Yeah. So
that's professional right there.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But anywho, back to me here. Bayley was getting groomed, yeah. It seemed like Bayley was gaining some momentum before she suffered the injury. So I was honestly surprised that the live crowd was so tough on her. And also at that SummerSlam in 2004, they cheered Triple H, and they also cheered Randy Orton when he won the World Heavyweight Championship. So, story for another day. But anywho, second best segment of the night. I mean, you feel for Bayley and of course the Bayley fans, and one Bayley fan in particular that MF and I know very well, and I'm trying to get Bullock to know her too. Luigi PS3, shout out to her. Hey girl. She even did a little video on her channel regarding the Bayley injury, and you got to believe her beautiful little heart was broken, knowing that one of her personal favorite female talent, which is Bayley, knowing that she's hurt and out of SummerSlam and she's going to be out for a while. I haven't seen the video yet, but I'm sure Luigi was definitely demoralized and very saddened about it. So anywho, as far as the match goes, 1 star. I mean, okay. I mean, it was nice to see the live crowd get behind the horribly underutilized Emma. Sasha going over was hardly a surprise. I mean, I even told Bullock, I mean, hey Bullock, I got a bold prediction for you. I think Sasha Banks wins this match. Did I call it? So that's really all I can say on that. So 1 star for the effort, and MF, even though we got one of our favorite tag teams coming up, the Good Brothers. But before we get into that, not a good day for 2 Raw superstars. Not just Bayley suffering an injury, but Dawson of the Revival. He's hurt. He's gone. So no Revival and Hardy bout for SummerSlam, which means no green beans for everyone. Ooh, no joy in Mudville. But anyways, yeah, not a good day for Bayley and for Scotty Dawson there. We wish them both the very best. And all right, MF, we got a cutout coming up here featuring a tag team that's had quite a few cutouts in our day during this show. The Good Brothers, even though we're fans of them.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Good Brothers does get a cutout here, as it was Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson going up against the unique tag team of the Big Show and Enzo Amore. The Good Brothers gets the victory here. And it is what like Anthony said, it just wasn't really as amazing as we thought it was going to be. Fine, whatever. We'll move on, and we'll go to the next segment, which was Finn Balor cutting a promo, interrupted by Bray Wyatt. We had this real interesting dynamic as these guys were going at it, and I thought this was all right. I think Balor does a good job, cutting the promo, everything else, saying, how Wyatt talks and runs, speaks in riddles. It gives him the creeps and everything else, but nonetheless, doesn't matter what you do. I'm not afraid. And remember, he's also a demon. He also can play that game. And that's what he did 1 week ago on Monday Night Raw, where he basically played that mind games with Bray Wyatt, basically showing the back of him and saying that, hey, I'm not afraid of you. I can play that game. And Wyatt was like, you know what? He shows up, and Finn was just chilling up on the corner, just sitting there waiting for him. Next thing you know, there's a little bit of some fisticuffs going, a swing blade clothesline, and then Wyatt disappears, and Balor's looking around saying, wait, where you at? Where you at? He appears on the big screen and said, you know what? He flies, and he said he was going to rip the wings off of him, and basically says that Balor downs from the heavens, and the fans like go and they flock like a bunch of pariah for Balor, but they're all gonna fall, and they're all gonna go down just like he will. And most notably, it's been officially signed: Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt for SummerSlam match. We'll wait and see what happens. Solid segment. Got nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, it's all yours.
Yeah, solid segment, even though they've really done nothing to get me all excited about it. But Balor and Wyatt, when it comes to the match at SummerSlam, I think it's got potential to be one of the top fights of the night. It's not. I don't think it's going to be the fight of the night by any means, I should say. But yeah, I mean, it was just a segment, really. I mean, it didn't really do anything to get me overly excited about it. And I mean, it was what it was. And yeah, it was a segment. In theory, it was really a segment to build to their upcoming match. But in reality, they're still doing nothing to make me want to watch the match. But you never know. I mean, the match could deliver. I mean, Bray Wyatt has not had a good year. I mean, yeah, they had to put the title on him, but he's had these lackluster matches. And I'm hoping that Finn Balor can, if anybody can get him out of that lackluster match slump, I think Finn Balor's the guy to do it. Because we know what Finn Balor is capable of. He's James Dean cool, John Wayne tough, like Corey Graves always likes to say. So I'm really hoping that the match ends up being better than the build, because the build to this, honestly, I love these guys, but I'm sorry, the build has been rather meh, if I'm being honest. So sorry, that's all I got to say there. But the match, though, I am looking forward to the actual match, because the match I think can be really good. So Michael Bullock, what says you?
Yeah, the segment was fine for what it was. I mean, wasn't really overly special, but yeah, I mean, the build for this match has pretty much been bleh, if I'm going to be quite honest. But I still think the match is going to be good come SummerSlam, because yeah, it is official. So, and I think this is the night where we will get the Demon King coming out for SummerSlam. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So, nothing else to say. Fletch, let's just move on.
Oh, we're going to move on. All right, guys. We are going to tear the house down. It was Dean Ambrose versus Antonio Cesaro, the winner of the bout, in 19 minutes and 15 seconds. It was Dean Ambrose with the victory. Anthony Florio, you lead off.
Second best fight of the night. Yeah, second best fight of the night. 3.5 to 4 stars. This was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I got to be honest. During our Raw chat here, this match was so good, and it was so much fun and so good and entertaining. These guys put so much effort into it that I was exhausted with them. I mean, I was getting exhausted watching this match. This was so good. This fight took a lot out of me, if I'm going to be real honest with you. But nonetheless, I mean, this was a really good match. I mean, I even told Bullock when we heard that Ambrose and Cesaro were going to go at it in this match, I said to Bullock, "Hey, Bullock, I think this is going to be a great match. It's going to be a great scientific wrestling match." We saw that here tonight. You all wonder why Dean Ambrose was my guy in the Shield. It was not just because of his, his craziness, but it was also because of his natural wrestling ability. And we saw that here tonight. And we know what Cesaro is capable of. MF more than anybody should know what Cesaro is capable of. I mean, I know you've been following him since he was in the Ring of Honor, MF. I mean, come on, Ring of Honor, is that your thing? I mean, you remember when he was known as Claudio Castiglione or whatever his name was down in the ROH. He was putting on these damn good matches too. I mean, the only thing is, I mean, like I said, I mean, I was a little exhausted. I mean, I did get a little exhausted during this match, and it kind of went a little too long, just a little bit too long. But, I mean, great match, which featured a particularly strong effort by Cesaro. It did go a little bit too long, as I think that pruning a few minutes and condensing the action would have made for a more efficient and cleaner bout. But Dean Ambrose tends to get a bit sloppy the longer a match goes on. Nothing like Great the Hammer Valentine back in the day. I mean, it would take him about 15 to 20 minutes just to get him going, and then you couldn't stop him. That's why he's a Hall of Famer. But I loved it. This crowd was unbelievable. The crowd was hot for Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins finally getting on the same page, but they left them hanging again. And having Rollins decline the fist bump this time around, great stuff. Like I said, I'm compelled by the booking. I mean, we're going to get it. It's going to happen. It's going to be Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins against Sheamus and Cesaro for the Raw Tag Team Championship. It's not official yet, but believe me, my friends, it will be. official. And when it does, I'm going to tell you right now, I think this fight can steal the show. I really do. This has potential to be one of the greatest tag team championship matches in recent memory. That's how great this whole thing has been. Nothing more to say on this. Second best fight of the night, 3.5 to 4 stars. Maybe more 3.5, really. So, with that being said, Michael Bullock, I mean, you're in our Raw chat tonight, man. I mean, we were getting exhausted watching these guys. It was so good.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. And second best fight of the night, 3.5 to 4 stars. That's a correct rating. I mean, the action was really good. I mean, this is why Anthony Florio, like you said, I mean, he was high on Dean Ambrose because of not just his craziness, but because of his ability to put on good matches, and that's what he did with Cesaro here. So, yeah. So basically, I mean, there's really nothing more to say. I mean, Florio pretty much touched on everything. So, Fletch, I give it to you.
A solid 3.5 stars, no doubt about it. This was an amazing match. This was a really good fight too. I mean, I was really enjoying every minute of it. It was definitely a solid match, to say the very least. And well, we're just gonna go right into the next fight of the night. Unfortunately, guys, it's cutout time. Cruiserweight divisional fight. It was Michael Bullock's and Anthony Florio's boy, Akira Tozawa. Let me hear it, fellas. I know you want to do it.
Ha, 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 ha.
Day in the life.
Yes, there it is. The as he went up against Arya Davari, the winner of the bout, in 3 minutes and 55 seconds was Akira Tozawa. Okay, fine. Solid victory for him, as now Akira Tozawa keeps getting the momentum heading into SummerSlam, where he will most definitely be fighting the cruiserweight champion of the world and the king of the cruiserweights, as he'll go one-on-one with Neville at SummerSlam. And then the next fight, I hate to do this again, but this is another cutout here. The second triple threat women's bout, as this was Dana Brooke, Mickie James, and Nia Jax. The winner of the bout is Nia Jax at 3 minutes even, which means next week on Monday Night Raw from the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts, it will be Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax, and the winner of that match will move on and advance to fight, again, Anthony's favorite girl, the top girl on Monday Night Raw right now, Alexa Bliss, the Twisted Bliss, for the Raw Women's title at SummerSlam. And we had a Shattered Dreams production. I'm not even going to get into that. And then there was a backstage segment where Kurt Angle cutted a promo. Well, Kurt Angle was talking with Big Cass, and they announced a match at SummerSlam, which was going to be Big Cass goes one-on-one with the Big Show, and they actually announced that Enzo Amore, initially Enzo was going to be barred from ringside, but then they actually did this. Enzo Amore is going to be locked in a shark cage and suspended 15 feet high above the ring. This is weird. What are you doing? I mean, okay, Enzo is not a nuisance. He hasn't been interfering. He hasn't been doing anything. The only reason why he's being... This sounds like Enzo's being punished, boys. I'm going to call it the way I see it. Why would you put a baby face and lock him up in a shark cage? Isn't that supposed to be for bad guys? Bobby the Brain Heenan, Jerry Lawler, I think, got locked in a shark cage.
And Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho, and most recently, Paul Ellering got locked in a shark cage recently. And Bearer. I don't get this. Why Enzo? This makes no sense whatsoever. But then again, look at what we're talking about. I'm not saying I'm not gonna be that guy. I'm not gonna be Anthony wants me to be not as critical about Monday Night Raw that I normally am. So I'm gonna leave it at that. No conclusions on that. But there is one conclusion that we're definitely gonna be talking about. Boys, we got the fight of the night. It was Roman Reigns. Yes, boo that man. As he goes one-on-one with Braun Strowman. All right. And the winner of the bout at 21 minutes and 55 seconds, Braun Strowman is the last man standing. Michael Bullock, you lead off.
This was the fight of the night here. I can only give this 4 stars. I know some people is probably going to give it 4.5, but the only reason why I'm giving it a 4-star rating because Joe interfered in the match. Because I mean, like Roman Reigns after he hit a thunderous spear, he basically looked like he was going to be the last man standing, but then Samoa Joe out of nowhere in the crowd puts the coquina clutch on. Basically, it looked like we were going to get ourselves a double count out, but Braun Strowman gets up at the last moment, gets the victory. The action was just, I mean, it was crazy. It was going on all throughout the arena, and basically it went up into the right near where the Raw announcers were. So, yeah, but it was a good match. It was a great match. I'll definitely say it, but it's just because of the Joe interference, I can only give it 4 stars. So, but it is the fight of the night. I'm not taking anything away from it. So, nothing else to say. Fletch, it's yours.
I will say this. Michael Bullock, you're absolutely right. If there wasn't the interference at the end, I probably would have given this 4.5 stars. But because Joe stuck his nose where it didn't belong in this fight, I can only give this 4.25. I'm going to call it fight of the night because it definitely deserves the fight of the night accolades. But I'm only taking a quarter of a point away and not taking a half point like you did, because I believe this was an amazing fight. This was definitely a thrilling matchup. It definitely lived up to the billing. It definitely was a tremendous battle. But did you had the feeling like maybe Brock Lesnar was going to show up again, come back and basically go after Joe, or try to show uh superiority at the end of the fight? I mean, that's the only thing I could think of that could have gone down. But at the end of the day, the way that it came down, the way that it ended, I got nothing bad to say. This was an unbelievable match. Fight of the night, clearly by a country mile. And what a way to close Monday Night Raw. This was a very strong way to end Raw. I kind of feel like I would have been satisfied with the double count out here. I kind of felt like Braun kind of waking up at literally at the last moment, the way he did, kind of didn't feel realistic to me. And maybe that's just me being a little nitpicky here, because I mean, if you saw, he shot up like a dart at 8 or 9 before he got all the way completely up at 10. So I kind of felt like I kind of felt like they rushed the ending more than anything else. I think because they were already going overtime. But the 4.25 stars fight of the night for me, Anthony Florio, is yours.
Yep. You got it, guys. This was the fight of the night. The only thing is, I'm sorry, I'm giving it the 4.5 stars. I don't give a damn what anybody says. I mean, I was gonna give this 5, but then once we had the Joe interference there, the length. I mean, what they did in this match, guys. I mean, the spots in this match were unreal. Braun Strowman threw an office chair at Roman Reigns, for goodness sakes. What? Whoa. That's unbelievable. And that spear, which made Michael Cole lose it, which made Michael Cole have one of my Gus Johnson, Anthony Florio moments where he squealed, and MF knows where I'm going with that. I know how much he loves it. But very good main event. I was starting to feel like the feud had been overexposed as I watched the early part of the bout, but they definitely won me over long before the finish. The shot of Strowman throwing the office chair at Reigns was fantastic. Fun match, and the Joe interference was expected, yet logical, given that he lost last week. And remember, guys, this is not a regulation bout. Last man standing matches, no countouts, no disqualifications, no pinfalls, no submissions. Anything goes. So I know interference, I know cheap finishes are frowned upon on this show. I get it. I understand that. But not in this case, because this is an anything goes match. So Joe interfering, Lesnar could have interfered. Why not? But that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So in terms of quality and overall entertainment, best thing on the show, easily. Even I'm not going to say too easily, because, I mean, Ambrose and Cesaro surprised the hell out of all of us. Braun and Roman have great chemistry. They're two big guys. They're two big, huge men. Be a man, men. And that go out there and put on these greatly entertaining be a man fights. And this was no exception. And what else is there to say? So, contrary to what these guys say, for me, it's 4.5 stars. I don't care what anybody says. This was easily the fight of the night. And I'll even go a step further, saying this should be one of the TV fights of the year. That's all I got to say. 4.5 stars, fight of the night. MF, let's get to our overall review here.
All right, and I believe I lead it off here, guys. So we're going to start it off, overall review. I'm going to admit this. I thought this was a pretty solid Monday Night Raw. Now, I thought the beginning was strong. I thought the main event was strong. You had a couple of moments where it was pretty good in the middle, but there was a few cutouts. I mean, there was probably more than what we would have desired cutouts. We cut it out both women's fights. We cut it out the cruiserweight fight. A tag team fight got a cutout as well. Like I said, I thought the Cesaro and Ambrose was amazing. I thought Rollins and Sheamus was pretty good, to say the very least. So, I mean, I don't want to call this a 50-50 show, because I don't think it really was 50-50, but I think just for the quality itself, I mean, just for the main event, the Ambrose fight, and the start of the show, and then maybe I could give you the okayness of of Sheamus and Rollins. I'll even give you that. But really, the show went downward was when the Jason Jordan fight started, and there was like a gap there. I want to say what, maybe hour and a half, where the programming wasn't so great. So you lost literally an hour of the show. Then you had that one fight where it was Ambrose and Cesaro, where it brought it back to life. Then you down again on the chicanery with a cruiserweight fight, a bad squash women's fight. I mean, you did more harm than good on this show. To me, just for the good matches alone, I can give this maybe a 6 out of 10. And maybe I might be generous with that. This was a very average Monday Night Raw in my eyes. So with that said, Anthony Florio, give me your rating for tonight's Raw.
No, I think the 6 out of 10 is right. That's about fair. Um, Last man standing stole the show. Let's not kid ourselves. Um, Dean Ambrose and Cesaro, second best fight of the night, and then rounding out the top three, you would have Seth Rollins and Sheamus. The opening segment was very good with Lesnar basically destroying the Miz Taraj. The Bailey segment was fine, and the Balor and Wyatt segment was okay. Nothing really special. And let me see what I had a trade of thought. Okay. Had some solid build elements towards SummerSlam, but I feel as if they are already burning out the tag title match with the singles matches and brawls, and the Universal Championship match already somewhat feels less important to me due to the guys fighting in some form for the past 2 weeks. And I mean, it was like a marathon show if you basically think about it. It's really between a 5 and 6 out of 10 for me, if I'm going to be real honest. And I mean, a lot of cutouts. That's not a good thing. If there's like, if we have a show that has more than 5 cutouts, which I believe this show did, that's not good. That's not going to help the rating anything at all. So it's between a 5 and a 6 out of 10 for me. So I'm hoping. I mean, but the crowd was amazing. So I think I'll make it the 6 out of 10. But I think that's purely for the crowd, because that was an IWC Bizarro Land crowd tonight, and they were amazing. And that will put it as a 6 out of 10. So hopefully next week in Boston, go home show with Sasha Banks squaring off against Nia Jax for the right to face Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship in the SummerSlam. I mean, and before we give it to Bullock, this is right now. This is how the bear with me for a minute. This is how the Raw side of SummerSlam is looking right now in terms of the card. We'll cover the SmackDown element tomorrow, but 10 overall matches on the card. For the Raw side, we got Lesnar, Reigns, Joe, and Strowman for the Universal title. Alexa against either Sasha or Nia. I think it's going to be Sasha myself for the Raw Women's title. Neville and Akira Tozawa for the Cruiserweight Championship. Big Cass against the Big Show, with Enzo suspended above the ring in a shark cage, and Finn Balor against Bray Wyatt. So looks pretty good. That's a pretty solid Raw side of the SummerSlam card. Many are arguing maybe SmackDown's got the better side right now, but like I said, we'll get into that tomorrow night on Cerebral Smack Talk. But for right now, between 5 and 6 out of 10 for me. So with that being said, Michael Bullock, your overall thoughts on this penultimate Monday Night Raw before SummerSlam?
Yeah, I agree. It's a 6 out of 10 for me as well. I mean, some of the matches were good, but the others were pretty much left to be desired. So, yeah, you guys pretty much touched on everything. So, 6 out of 10 is my rating. So with that being said, Fletch, if you're ready, let's get to your Mikey's mindset.
All right, and we're going to start it off with Lucha Underground. Lucha Underground went down this past Wednesday, and what we have is basically The Hunger Inside was the name of the episode, as we are now getting closer and closer to the end of the Dario Cueto Cup. This is now we are in the quarterfinal matches. Basically, the winners of these matches moves on to the semis, and we can tell you right now, here it is. So in one quarterfinal match, it was Phoenix going up against Pendar, and Phoenix rises up and advances to the semifinals of the Dario Cueto Cup, and he waits the winner of the next match, which was Dante Fox, as he went one-on-one with Prince Puma, and Prince Puma advances. So imagine that semifinal match. It is going to be next week, guys. It's going to be Prince Puma going one-on-one. Well, in a couple of weeks, I should say, it's going to be Prince Puma going one-on-one with Phoenix. Wow, what a semifinal that's going to be. And then, of course, the other semifinal matches that has been set for next week, it is gonna be Jeremiah Crane is going one-on-one with the man of 1,000 deaths, Mil Muertes, and the other is Tejano going one-on-one with Pentagon Dark. And that's going to be for this Wednesday. And our main event for this episode of Lucha Underground, it was the Lucha Underground heavyweight champion Johnny Mundo going one-on-one with El Dragon Azteca Jr. And Johnny Mundo successfully wins the match. The title was not on the line. It was a non-title affair. This was a good show. This was a good show from beginning to end. And yeah, I was very impressed with everything that they did with this episode. And I have to say, guys, this is episode 30. So there is 10 weeks left of Lucha Underground Season 3, because when they did this is about 40 episodes altogether. So we are literally 2.5 months away from the end of Lucha Underground. And of course, I believe the final 4 episodes of the season is Ultimo Lucha 3. So literally we got about I want to say about 6 more episodes regular, and then we got Ultimo Lucha 3, and that is when the season ends. And they're already hinting about possibly a season 4. They actually said that Lucha Underground has been such a major hit for them. The executives are trying to figure out a time to get the episodes all straightened out and ready to go. But they are hinting that there will be a season 4. It should happen sometime down the line. So keep your eyes peeled for that. All right. Then this week on Ring of Honor Wrestling, like I said, it was only one fight you needed to know. For the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship, the champion, the American Nightmare, Cody, puts the title on the line against the Fallen Angel, Christopher Daniels, in out of 3 falls. What a match it was. It went the full 3 falls. The winner of the bout, 2 falls to 1, and still Ring of Honor World Champion, the American Nightmare, Cody. He successfully defends the title. This was an amazing fight, guys. This fight almost took a half an hour long, with commercials included, but this was an amazing main event. I had nothing bad to say about this one as well. This was an amazing battle, to say the very least. And I will say this, with everything that's been going on, this has been unbelievable, to say the very least. And, well, okay, guys, so what I'm going to do is, normally I don't do this, but I do want to cover this real briefly. The G1 Climax tournament is really revving up right now. As many of you guys know, last night in Japan, we had a major upset. The United States heavyweight champion, Kenny Omega, he lost last night in a stunning upset to Juice Robinson. Juice Robinson knocked off the United States champion, and he stunned the IWGP world is buzzing right now. All of the IWC is buzzing right now. Juice Robinson pulled off what undoubtedly, and many people are calling this the upset of the year. This is, if you guys know CJ Parker from NXT or from Florida Championship Wrestling, that's who he is. He changed his name to Juice Robinson. He's been fighting in MCLL. He's been fighting in Pro Wrestling Noah, and he just knocked off the Elite. He knocked off Kenny Omega and has shocked the wrestling world. Everybody is still buzzing at this defeat. And I will say this right now as it stands, and this is very, very, very important for all you fans out there. Let me give you the bracket and what it's breaking down as of right now at this hour. There are matches set for this morning. Derek Ferreira will cover that tonight. It's supposed to start around 5:30 in the morning in Japan. But this is the breakdown. Basically, if you're the top guy in both brackets, Block A and Block B, basically you advance and fight for the right, because the G1 tournament winner gets the opportunity to fight at Wrestle Kingdom for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship of the World. Now, this is very, very, very important, because in Block A, Kazuya Naito and Hiroshi Tanahashi fight in the next matchup. The winner of that match wins the block. Block A will be decided in this fight. If Naito wins, he moves on. If Hiroshi Tanahashi wins, he moves on. Whatever the case may be, right now it is very compelling. If Naito wins, he basically, the winner moves on. Now, in Block B, this is very, very, very crucial, because of the fact, with that loss of Kenny Omega, Kazuchika Okada, basically, if he wins his next match, which I think his next fight is against Suzuki, if he against Minoru Suzuki, the leader of Suki Gun, if he wins the match, if he wins that fight, if he beats Minoru Suzuki, then it's over. Kazuchika Okada will win Block B. There is no other way. There's no chance for Kenny Omega to chase him, because of the fact that with that loss, with already the loss, basically he would be dead to rights, in other words. Now, unless Omega, I think Omega still has a couple of fights to go, so he got to fight. He has to win Sadaya, hope that Okada loses, and then we have a winner take all. Basically, Okada versus Omega. That could be a winner take all fight, and we already know Omega, Okada, they've already had 2 5-star classic battles already. Can they have a third? We'll wait and see. And then finally, we do have one other bit of news that I do want to talk to you guys about, which is for my friends at the Renegade Wrestling Alliance. Boys, they are at it again. Another big event coming down the pipeline very soon. And yes, it is a new event. It's called Commemorization. It is a 10-year celebration of the RWA, of the Renegade Wrestling Alliance. And it's going down on Saturday night, August 19th. That is basically about, I want to say, 11 days from now. So this event is going to be held at the Chop Shop at Kiwanis Street in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. No matches have been announced yet. However, once the matches are announced next week on the show, we will be talking about those matches. As of now, no matches have been announced, and basically tickets will go on sale sometime this week. Matches will be announced in the upcoming days, so keep your eyes peeled on Facebook. And and check and keep an eye on my Facebook page, because when those matches get announced, I will share them for the whole world. So until then, guys, that is it for tonight. Thank you so much for watching this. It's time for the shout outs, as we normally would do on our show on Monday night. So it's only fitting that we let the host, Anthony Florio, start off, then pass it off to Michael Bullock, and then I'll be hitting with the future content. So, Florio, it is yours.
Absolutely, MF. Of course, special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make our shows as over as they are. We appreciate it as always. We definitely appreciate you tuning into this very special role reversal edition of Ridiculously Raw. Don't worry, I'll be back at the controls next week. You can bet on that. And but MF, shout out to you. You did a tremendous job tonight as always. And I know it was a homecoming for you to be on that stage tonight, but don't worry, you'll be back at ringside next week, like you're used to. But I'll get the feel for it this time around, and looking forward to it. So that's all I can say about that. But anywho, of course, our other shout outs, Twisted Angel, First Lady of Wrestling Forum, Dee Whitson, who couldn't be with us tonight. Shame, but it is what it is. Kevin Whitson and the Whitson family, of course. Matt Ward, Jason Nixon, Daniel Luttrell from the UK. Our other First Ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway. And our other friends, Eric Carrier, Tommy Souza, Jimmy Alden, Alvarez, Rob Parsons, and of course the man himself, Falcon Striker 445 himself, Derek Forever, the Hardcore Pipe Bomb, and I'll save the rest of my shout outs for Friday night for our season finale of Strictly Sports, which MF will get into. And I'm going to add and one other item was added to the docket, MF. I'll put it in the text chat box so you can plug it. Although I think you might already know what it is based on our behind the scenes chat the other night. So that's all I can say on that. So MF, great job. And maybe we'll consider doing this again someday. We'll see. But so until tomorrow night, of course, tomorrow night we got the Cerebral Smack Talk. I don't really know what time. I got a bit of a quandary here, guys. Michael Bullock sounds like, for all intents and purposes, he's going to be out of the show. And we already know MF's going to be out of the show. So who knows what Dee Whitson's doing. So I really can't give you a time for tomorrow night. I'll probably have to reach out to Dee Whitson about that and get back to you folks at a later time. Or I could just do the whole thing by myself. I wouldn't mind flying solo for once. So, but don't worry, there will be a Cerebral Smack Talk tomorrow night. Whether it's just me or whether Dee Whitson's with me or not, it doesn't matter. There will be a Cerebral Smack Talk. I'm going to give you folks your money's worth. Believe me on that. So, of course, tomorrow night on SmackDown Live, the WWE Champion, Jinder Mahal, is going to be going up against Randy Orton, from what I'm hearing. And, of course, the match we already knew about, the SmackDown Live LED Women's Champion, Naomi, will go up against Miss Money in the Bank, Carmella. And whatever else they have in store for tomorrow night on SmackDown Live, which will also be at the Air Canada Center in Toronto. Looking forward to covering all that, plus my Tony's take on 205 Live and Impact Wrestling, and then looking forward to the season finale of Strictly Sports. MF will get into that in just a moment. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on my channel, the Tone 25, it's the ridiculously over gentleman Anthony Florio here. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Tuesday. And remember, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. Good night, everybody. Michael Bullock, it's all yours.
All right, of course, shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who support our shows, whether it's this, the Cerebral Smack Talk, or Strictly Sports. It doesn't matter. We really appreciate it. So, of course, shout outs to all of our super fans out there. You guys know who you are. To all of our friends from high school days, you guys know who you are. So basically, that's pretty much all I can say. So I'm probably going to be out of the Cerebral Smack Talks, and if that's the case, until Friday night for our season finale of Strictly Sports. This is the Phenom Mike Bullock saying thank you also. Excuse me. Thank you all so very much for tuning in. Of course, you know the routine. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now and enjoy the rest of your night, everyone. So, Fletch, take us home.
All right, and first off, I want to say thank you to all the great fans out there for making the show as incredible as it is. And yes, I do want to say thank you to the producers. Thank you, Anthony Florio. Thank you to everybody for giving me the opportunity to run the show tonight. This was a joy, honor, privilege. You guys know this is awesome. And then, of course, we also got a lot to talk about. Tomorrow night is indeed Cerebral Smack Talk, which is Anthony's taking over for the night, and on the Tone 25 he'll have SmackDown Live, he'll have his Tony's Take, so 205 Live, and maybe he might throw the newest edition too. He might give you a double, you don't know, he might give you a double. 205 Live, maybe 2 episodes of 205 Live, of course. He'll have his TNA, or I should say Global Force Wrestling Impact recap as well. And then, of course, on Friday night, season finale of Strictly Sports, y'all. So we are going to be covering all the power conferences. That's SEC, ACC, Big 10, Big 12, whatever other big conferences that we feel that's most notably. Of course, Notre Dame football. We cannot leave Notre Dame out on the dust, because we got at least 2 guys who actually love Notre Dame. So we're going to get into that. Of course, we're going to have Michael Bullock talking about his experience with Big Time Wrestling, as they had a big show at McCoy Stadium on Friday night. We're going to have him talk about that. And for the final time this season, the Major League Baseball Power Rankings. That is going to go down Friday night, 10:30 Eastern on the Tone 25. And with that said, that is it. So thank you so much for watching this. Like the video, leave a comment at the bottom, share this with all your friends on all social media platforms around the world. And until then, please watch Cerebral Smack Talk with Anthony Florio on the Tone 25 tomorrow night. And for all of us here, for the Ridiculously Over gentleman Anthony Florio, for Michael Bullock, I am Michael Flecha. You know the routine, everybody. Hugs and hand pounds. We're out. Have a good night, everybody. So long for now. And for all of us here,